Larry, so good to see you. We are diving into the headlines today, the recent passage of the big, beautiful bill. We're going to break down what it means for your retirement. So, Washington just passed what President Trump is calling the big, beautiful bill, which could reshape retirement planning for millions of Americans. So, we're going to break down the big takeaways. What is the big picture that people need to be kind of keeping in mind right now?
Well, the big picture is the extended tax cuts. That was a
Right.
huge deal so that we could be looking at some opportunities for tax planning down the road. That's one of the biggest issues.
hmm And we're going to dive into that in a second, but I do have a few more questions first because there have been some confusing headlines regarding taxes on Social Security. Can you break this one down, please?
Absolutely. So what happens there, Aaron, is it was set out to be no taxes on Social Security, and I think there's a lot of
Right.
misconceptions between, it went back and forth in the House and the Senate, but right now it's a $6,000 advantage. So per taxpayer that has Social Security, they get $6,000 in additional cuts or additional that takes off their income. So it is
hmm
helpful, but it's not a cure all. It's not a fix all. There still will be taxes on Social Security. It's just a little bit more of a deduction, which again is very helpful for some tax planning.
Okay. So then that begs the question, does this change how we should be preparing for retirement or even when we should be claiming Social Security?
Not really, Aaron. I mean, again, like I said, it's helpful. I don't want to throw cold water on it. It's very helpful, but at the same time, only 4% of people are really optimizing their Social Security, taking it to the most important time. Which most couples are leaving about $100,000 on the table. 96%
Yeah.
of people are. So it's really more about all that's still a cookie cutter based on their individual needs, not or more customized, not a cookie cutter. I should have said on their individual needs. So that still needs to be looked at very closely.
hmm All right. So now let's get to what you and I kind of consider to be the main takeaway of the passage of the big, beautiful bill, which is that it extends the runway now to consider a Roth conversion. As we've talked about many times, Larry, we are living in a historically low tax rate right now. So, why does a Roth conversion right now make sense?
Well, as you pointed out in this chart so beautifully displays, is that again, we're living in a lower tax rate than we've been for many, many years. And the tax cuts extensions is there. And, we like to joke about it, but it's a reality is they're permanent until someone changes them, right? I mean,
Right.
that's happened several times. So with the $37 trillion deficit and growing, it's still going to be an issue. So while those taxes are low, it's a great time. And with that, being able to kick that can down the road, it's a perfect time to pay taxes. What you think about it, a farmer, you're paying tax on the seed, not the harvest. So it's a very smart thing to do and be very creative right now while we have a little bit more runway.
Right. I'm glad you brought up the nation's deficit because it's pretty safe to assume that at some point the nation will have to raise taxes to pay down that debt.
Look, they will have to raise taxes. Again,
Yeah.
I like where we are, and we've been doing some tax planning for a long time now. We still believe that's very important. That you save 5 to 7% in taxes. That's like making 5 to 7% before you pick a financial vehicle. So I like doing that, but we do know $37 trillion deficit. We are definitely going to have tax increases sometime down the road. So take
Mhm.
advantage while we can.
Right. Proactive planning is key. So, Larry, if somebody wants to crunch the numbers with you, or if they want to talk more through how these changes may affect them and their retirement plan, what's the best way to reach you?
They can give our office a phone call at area code 615-216-1048, or they can go to our website, which is sfawealth.com.
Great. Larry, thank you.
Thank you, Aaron.